Well, the latest is, we signed and contracted to do a rematch, and that's what it is right now.
Do you know when it's going to be, when we can hear?
I don't got no date right now, but I know that's the next fight that Terence Crawford.
How long do you think it will be before we have some news about that?
I don't know. It's still up in the air, given the
first male boxer, undisputed, in any division in a four-belt era, and I honor, that, and if he was to come to me or activate his.
I mean, it could happen. I mean, why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great. So what I'm saying, I'm with it. So I'll be going for Bud. If he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him.
Well, the latest is, we signed and contracted to do a rematch, and that's what it is right now. Do you know when it's going to be, when we can hear? I don't got no date right now, but I know that's the next fight that Terence. See, how long do you think it will be before we have some news about that? I don't know, it's still up in the air, given first male boxer, undisputed, in any division in a four-belt era, and I honor you. Know that, and if he was to come to me or activate his, it could happen. Why not? If Proper want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great, so what I'm saying, I'm with it. So I'll be going for good. If he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him. The sport is in chaos again. Just when it seemed like Terence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. had gone their separate ways, talks for a rematch are suddenly back on the table as of April 2025, and this time they are not just rumors. Negotiations are happening behind the scenes. Both fighters are talking about it, and tensions are rising fast, with Crawford already challenging Spence's position in boxing. Let's catch you up. I wanted to see that immediately after that fight, but now time has kind of ran his course. I don't want to see Errol. I just don't want to see Errol get done like that again. That's all. I believe Errol Spence is a generational talent, great fighter. Crawford and Spence have never been the type to hold back, and as the talks start turning into reality, they are getting louder, taking shots at each other in interviews, social media, and now even during a heated live exchange. Spence, who has been out of the ring since his brutal loss to Crawford in 2023, is more fired up than ever. He is pushing hard for this rematch, claiming that the first fight didn't tell the full story, that he was drained at 147 pounds and that the weight cut took everything out of him. Crawford, however, is reminding everyone what happened the last time they stepped in the ring, how he knocked Spence down 3 times and how the fight wasn't even close. But Spence refuses to accept that narrative. He is still convinced that at 154 pounds everything changes. But you going to knock my first? Because I don't want us personally. We talking about what we want to see. I don't want to see, because I know what it's going to look like, the same as it looked last time. No, you don't. Yes, I do. Errol Spence wasn't the same. What was wrong with him? He looked slow, he looked thug, he looked sluggish. Why? I can't tell you. I wasn't in camp at the division he dominated for his entire career. All of a sudden, when it came time for this fight, he looked different. Why? I wasn't in camp with him. I can't tell you. I don't know if his body finally broke down from being at 147 for too long. This entire rematch situation has been a roller coaster since the moment Spence exercised the rematch clause after their first fight, when Crawford destroyed him in July 2023. Spence wasted no time triggering the clause, determined to get another shot, but the contract was clear: unless either fighter submitted written notice stating they couldn't make 147 pounds, the rematch would take place at welterweight again. Spence never officially filed that notice, but he and his team kept insisting that the fight should happen at 154. Crawford wasn't having it. He had no reason to give Spence an advantage after beating him so decisively. That's where the standoff began. The fight can't be made, but weight can't be used as an excuse and sort of say I don't feel like it, like I'll go up to for this guy but not another guy. So that's sort of the spirit. The language is very more precise and very definitive, but the concept is out of fairness. Is let's not be selective. Then Spence's health issues slowed everything down. Eye surgery, the recovery, the doubts about whether he could even return to form. While Spence was dealing with all that, Crawford moved on, won another title at 154 by beating Israel Madrimov, and shut down any talk of a rematch. When reporters asked him about it, he barely acknowledged the possibility. Nah, he said, dismissing it completely. At that moment it looked like the rivalry was over for good. Same question, I don't want your reaction. Is it Errol Spence remix on the table still? No. All right, we're going to wrap it. I'm trying to tell you, but now things are Shifting fast, Crawford is no longer shutting the door completely. Spence is ramping up the pressure, calling him out every chance he gets. Most fans are saying Spence deserves another shot, that the weight cut really did affect him, that it wasn't the real Spence in the ring that night. Others are calling that an excuse, saying he got exposed and a rematch would look the same no matter what weight class it happens in. I truly believe that the fight would have went that way regardless, because stylistically the fundamentals on that level, Crawford is just outclasses Errol Spence in every single category. Spence though is making this personal. He is openly accusing Crawford of ducking him, of trying to walk away from the contract, of acting like the fight never existed just because he got the upper hand the first time. Crawford never one to let someone dictate the narrative, is firing right back. He is telling Spence he had his chance, that he got dominated, that he didn't even look like he belonged in the ring with him at 54 or 47, but I'm sure he probably going to push the weight up, but there's going to be no change in the decision. The performance still is going to be the same, might be even a little bit better, so he might want to watch out before he activate the rematch clause. And now in real time both fighters are making it clear that they are ready to go to war again. Spence, despite everything, is still confident. He is saying that Crawford has never fought him at full strength, that he wasn't himself in that first fight, and that he is going to prove everyone wrong. Crawford on the other hand is almost laughing at the idea that anything will be different to him. Spence is always overrated, his style is too predictable, and if God got in the ring again he would beat him even faster the second time. The trash talk is getting more intense by the day, and with both men finally admitting that talks are happening, this fight is looking more real than ever. Let's go. As you can see, man, breaking news, Errol Spencer activated that rematch clause to fight Terence again. Right, let's be honest, we all saw the fight. Crawford beat boogers out that boy. However, this trash talk is already causing some waves in the sport. Terence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson have always been tight, their bond built on years of respect, mentorship and shared ambitions, but now their views on Errol Spence Jr.'s legacy are splitting them into opposite corners. Crawford, never one to sugarcoat his opinions, has ignited a firestorm by outright dismissing Spence's Hall of Fame credentials. Meanwhile, Stevenson, one of the sport's brightest young champions, isn't having it. The disagreement is stirring heated debates among fans, analysts and even fighters, with opinions clashing over what truly defines a Hall of Fame career. You know what I mean? That's a good win. I'm still a fan. I hope you do well, but like once it got to the point where I moved up in weight and I'm in the same way that Spence, it's just like, oh man, you ain't fighting nobody, you this, you that, you this, you that. So now they trying to blemish my accomplishment just to boost him up. I'm like, dude, you're not going to do that, because I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Everything that I've accomplished he's still trying to accomplish. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him. I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolades that he didn't got right now. Crawford set this controversy in motion during an appearance on the Pound for Pound podcast with Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo. He didn't hesitate when the topic of Spence's legacy came up. In his view, Spence doesn't make the cut. His reasoning: Spence only fought in one division. While he acknowledged Spence's accomplishments, unifying 3 welterweight titles, defeating top-tier opponents like Sean Porter, Danny Garcia and Dennis Ugas, Crawford was firm in his belief that it wasn't enough to him. A Hall of Famer is someone who conquers multiple weight classes, builds an undeniable resume and proves their greatness beyond a single division. You discredit one of the best wins on your resume, it starts to make people look at your resume with a question mark. Terence Bud Crawford. That statement itself is interesting to the whole boxing community. Crawford didn't just critique Spence's career, he effectively shut the door on any discussion of his place in boxing history, and this is why everyone in the sport is getting back at him, with fans and experts calling him out for downplaying Spence's achievements. Some see it as unnecessary disrespect, others feel Crawford is just being honest. But the most surprising pushback didn't come from analysts or former fighters, it came from Shakur Stevenson, one of Crawford's closest friends. When asked about Crawford's comments during an interview with Best Women's Boxing Show, Stevenson was quick to disagree. I feel as though Errol had a great career, he said, standing firm in his stance. If it wasn't for Bud he would have been undisputed, so he went and got every belt one by one. I think he's a Hall of Famer. His words cut through the narrative Crawford was trying to push, offering a different perspective, one that recognized Spence's dominance before their fight and what could have been if Crawford hadn't been in his way. For Terence went on Pound for Pound podcast and he said that Errol Spence will not be a Hall of Famer. Can you just give me your